What's going on, everybody? It's Brees. We're back out here in the Brooklyn Podcasting Studio for another episode of the What's Cooking Podcast, home of all the hottest and upcoming entrepreneurs and businessmen around the city. So today, this is actually going to be a different type of episode. This is something that I definitely had planned for a while. And being that, I did introduce this podcast to be a podcast where it's going to be not just entrepreneurship, but also, what's the word? I would say financial literacy. I had this idea of doing panels. So today with me, I have my boy Lynx, and he's going to be my first panelist, if that's the correct word.
Thank you for having me, man.
Yes, and he's going to be talking a lot about credit, right? So with these panels, like I said, I'm going to do different topics. So everybody's going to come up with a topic. So as I just said, he's going to do credit, and we're going to start from there. So before we get started, the way I know Lynx is actually like weird. It's like through the, yeah, like it's through the, it's like I knew Lynx through the internet, like, because basically he used to do like comedy skits, like Haitian comedy skits. The Zos, we outside. See,
Shout out to the Zos.
Yeah, my sister, she came back from a cruise. She got me a nice little bracelet right here. And yeah, he used to do a lot of Haitian comedy skits and stuff like that. And, I just followed him on social media and stuff. And like, he wasn't like Hollywood. I mean, I feel like comedians and stuff like that now are Hollywood, but back then, like, they weren't Hollywood. Like, you could just add people and they just add you back, stuff like that. So it started with that. And then down the line, I seen him doing all these different type of business ventures. And I don't even know when he started the whole credit thing, to be real true, because he's done so many different things. I see him promoting it. It's just like, wow. That's definitely something, that inspired me, especially being the businessman that I am. That's something that always came to mind. He was always one of the first people that always came to mind when it came to people I always want to network with, link up with when it came to a business tip and, pick their mind a little bit. So that's basically the backstory to how me and Lynx got to know each other. And well, yeah, that's basically it. So we gotta get started.
Great backstory too. I just want to set some light on that. I want to thank you for having me first and foremost. I'm
thankful that you actually accepted the invite.
Of course, man. I've been watching the show, every episode that came up, probably except for the last one. But at that time you met me, I was doing skits with my cousin, Jonas Jano, popular comedian out here. Shout out to him, for having me on the skits, for giving me an opportunity to just get some exposure. But I was actually, going through a music venture with my team at the time. We had a record label together. So I was just trying to get on. Had some talent in music, so I felt like I wanted to pursue it, and it just led to that, and then met on the internet, and it's funny because it's so many people in my inbox all the time that hit me up about trading all the time. The time. And when I kid you not, and I'm very worried about stuff like that, I'll say, yo, I'd rather just learn from somebody who's proven when it comes to trading. And you and somebody else, shout out to Carl too, like the only people that I know who've actually made money from trading and who can actually teach, so big shout out to you too. I really look at that, like,
Carl, we have to get up on the charts, bro.
Shout out to other people that's doing anything in trading too, but I just feel like, I always go with the people that I know first that could actually teach me something. Not saying anybody can't too, but I go with the people that I know first.
Yeah, because I feel like when it came to my legitimacy, I feel like it was really the trading game that did it for me. Like, people took me serious when they seen how serious I got about something in general. And I feel like that's some good advice for a lot of people. If you really want to be good at what you do, actually have a passion for it. Actually take it seriously. Because people are going to clown you. They're going to think it's a joke. They're going to think it's not going to work for you. And then, a lot of people say, oh, well, when I pop, people are going to regret it. How are you going to pop if you're not working towards it? Right? So, really work on your craft. Really take it seriously and make sure people really feel you and see like you really putting the work in if you really want to be successful at what you're doing. And that's basically what I did. That's basically what he did. And that's why we're so successful at, our own crafts and stuff like that.
Right. Just to give you some backstory too, because you said you didn't know when I started my credit journey. To backtrack.
Yeah, that was going to be my first question.
So I was doing music for about 10 years, trying to get on the radio, shows, local. I wasn't nobody big, but I was just getting my name out there. And at some point, I just said, you know what, I'm gonna just go extremely hard. I started bugging every day on Instagram, like literally rapping every single day until somebody hit me with a message in my DM talking about, hey, let's sit down with a major, and then, he asked me a couple of questions in a business sense, because a lot of people, they think it's just music. You know what I'm saying?
I'm
Like-
glad you said that too.
like,
'cause that's
If any of y'all seen Kanan last night, right? When Lou was talking about getting a new singer, right? And he was like, "Yo, we already pushed your record." Talking to the Spanish dude, we need to move on. It's like that, you know. So I figured, hey, it's time to learn about the business aspect of it. You know, I didn't really have any leverage. I couldn't really say what I wanted in terms of a deal because everybody getting offered a 360 deal. It is what it is. People got to read the contract, et cetera and so forth. I read it. I didn't understand it completely, but I knew I had to do, I had to learn something, right? So it stemmed off into me getting into, movies. I think that's an easy transition. If you notice, most rappers get into, the movie industry. I had a friend of mine who gave me my first job. Her name is Basma Florex. And ever since then, she know I was doing music. So she was like, hey, you want to write the score of this film? And that was back when like web series was popping. We did this movie called Brooklyn Fever, and then it jumped off into web series, and then today we just put out a new trailer for a film that's coming out, Life of a Zoe. So we also
I seen that this morning.
Yeah, check that out too. It's coming soon. I'm gonna let y'all know. And then I just started going back to everything: finance, money, taxes, law. And then it wasn't until my grandmother passed away, I really decided to really go that route because we didn't have life insurance. You know what I'm saying? And that's a topic that people don't want to talk about, but it is what it is. And we didn't have life insurance at the time. And then I said, you know what? I don't want this to happen again. You know what I mean? Somebody has to go about, whether it was me or my brothers, whoever. I just like, you know what? Something has to change. And then I ended up studying at a firm on Wall Street, learning about retirements, investments, insurances, the whole 9 yards, except for credit though. But I'm gonna get into that, right?
Okay.
So I learned what I learned. And I was a little bougie at that point. I'm not gonna lie, at least in terms of credit, because my credit was fairly good. But I didn't think I had to improve my credit until when, I lost my job during the COVID year. It was just like sporadic. Like, everything is just going crazy. I was like, you know what? I'm not trying to get the, So I said, you know what? Let me just try to run my business full-fledged entrepreneur. And then my homegirl, shout out to her, she's been doing credit for a minute, and she's been helping a lot of families and individuals with their credit. So I reached out because my credit was in shambles. That COVID year, I was liquidizing my assets that I had, money in my accounts, because I was just trying to live, to be honest with you, getting by, swiping, no swiping, and then my credit maxed out. Like I maxed out a $3,000 limit, bro. And then I seen my credit score drop 150 points, and I didn't understand why. I thought it was just, okay, I just pay my bill and that's it. Like, no, I didn't know, there's length of payment history, new lines of credit, revolving credit, how long you had that payment, all the things that coming together to determine your FICO score with the three credit bureaus, TransUnion, Equifax, Experian, all of that stuff. So I decided to dive into that. And at that moment, which is crazy, everybody needed help with credit.
Yeah.
Like, it was crazy. Like, I put one post on Facebook, one ad, like, took me to the moon. Like they said with that song, like, true story. Like, and I started, I quit my job in like a month. I made about like $5,000 my first month helping people with credit, and then I just didn't look back. Like, I just became a full-fledged entrepreneur for 2.5 years, started learning about credit, maximizing my credit. I started opening up new lines of credit, and I started to realize how much is tied to so much. Like, you really can't do nothing. You can't get a job. Like, well, you can get a job, but if you want a better job, they look at stuff like that, right? If you want to buy a house, they looking at your credit, your DTI, debt to income ratio, for those that don't know what that means, or if you want to get a loan, business loan, all this stuff revolves around credit. Like, you want to get an apartment. I missed out on an apartment because my credit was bad at that time during COVID. So
even cars too, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Cars, they use they have, some people don't even know they have a auto score that's used. So people think, oh, my credit is going to affect my auto score. It is, but if your length of history of making your car payments is good, you don't have nothing to worry about.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because they have like a specific score factor for that. Something for jobs, something for insurance. It's all different things, but it all factors with your overall credit score too. So, that's how I got into that. I've been doing it about 2.5 years now. I also expanded now. I'm also doing business credit, business funding, personal loans. You know,
Yeah, we got to talk about that one.
yeah, we definitely do. You know, I love this setup, what you got going on. And throughout the period, what I've learned most importantly from Wall Street is not to just think like a business owner, but to think like an investor.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a difference between the two. A business owner, he just has one business. An investor has a business, but he's looking to invest in people like you.
Right.
Or people who have other ideas going on, you know, because it's not all about them at the end of the day.
It's just about having like a share or like just to be a stakeholder basically. Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah, man.
Yeah, and it's funny too because like you're the biggest Mavs fan I know, and Mark Cuban is probably the biggest investor out there. So I could see where you get it from.
Shout out to the Mavs. Shout out to Mark Cuban too. And I want to say this too, since we this is going on YouTube. I already bet the Mavs gonna win the championship this year coming up. If they don't, it is what it is. But I already bet because that's something I believe.
I'm trying to think of their roster too. Like
they got a pretty good roster.
they might, yeah.
Shout out to FanDuel.
They'll
too.
go back to the conference finals for sure. I can see that.
Shout out to
They got some
FanDuel.
good pieces, but
FanDuel made me a lot of money this year.
yeah, I'll probably do it. Yeah. I might do a sports betting episode. Who knows?
I think you should.
That's the thing, though. This could be too many people. Like, people could hear this now, and they're going to be like, nah, I got to get on that one.
I'm going to tell you why. Because it's so many
Have, like,
individuals
200
like you and
people.
myself who have passions for things,
Right.
and there's so many ways now that we can make money that we didn't have back in the day, right? So just being able to sit at home, and I made $255 off of just a play I called on, the Mavs beating the Suns in 7 games. I called that. Nobody believed me. I was like, all right, just stuff like that. It's just, easy ways to make money. That 250 could do whatever for somebody.
Right.
You know what I mean? I used it to invest again, but it's just like the opportunity to just make money nowadays is just unbelievable. Like,
Right. Yeah, so it's actually funny too that you went back to me with the trade thing and you were talking about like people like and their legitimacy basically. So one thing so the same way like people used to come at like the traders, especially the Forex people, I used to like feel that way with the credit people because I know there were all these all these industries are linked to MLMs, right? Multi-level marketing. And we actually just did an episode with somebody and he spoke on that and other passive income plays, but mostly MLMs. And yeah, with the credit thing, it's like they also have that side too. So I feel like, the same way you said you believe in me and my legitimacy is like the same way with you because I feel like there were a lot of people that were just getting into credit on that same tip of an MLM where it's like, they're just getting people to just sign up. And, they might teach them the ABCs to credit, but they don't really know credit themselves. And I feel like, for me personally, I feel like I really had to look at people, not necessarily sideways, but with caution because I felt like a lot of these people that were posting about credit and things like that, again, like it's more legitimacy type of thing. Like first of all, I don't know most of these people. These are all people in social media. So it's like, I don't know them personally. And then secondly, it's like, well, I got to see something. Like I got to see at least testimonials that you're helping people boost their credit scores. And a lot of people are just in this whole sign up mode where it's just like, they're just showing you all these people on their team, but they're not showing actual customer satisfaction and things like that.
Right.
So,
And I'm glad you touched on that too, because I think you touched on that your first episode. And I was like, I'm going to definitely remember to talk
Lambo
back about
McLaren, you know how that goes.
But, network marketing gets a bad rep, MLM. And the reason why is because I don't think people fully understand what they're getting into. Right. And yes, you are growing your own business. You are learning the aspect of how to formulate a business. I look at it as an apprenticeship. Like I'm utilizing your resources, your platform, your name, because it's already established, and I'm learning the ins and outs of whatever that business is, and I'm building my own umbrella within it. Understanding that your business is not mine. I'm just using the resources so I could build mine and brand my own. Right. And it's so much things that you learn with network marketing, like just how to network, how to brand, business, client service, back end stuff, inventory, LLC building, getting your business registered, again, business, all this stuff that comes into play, And to your point, I think the first thing that somebody should, focus on if they jumping into multi-level marketing is personal development. That's number one.
Yeah, that was definitely something that was spoke on.
Because I think when you begin to learn it and immerse yourself, what exactly is network marketing?
Mm-hmm.
So you have a greater define of what it is that you're doing, and then you start to learn about yourself. Because I promise you, I thought I knew myself until I became a business owner.
Yeah.
Swear to
feel
God.
That way too.
I thought I knew myself. I started realizing, like, damn, I'm not as motivated as I used to be. I had to grow, of course. I'm not as active as I am when I say I am. It's like every day is the rent due. People think that's a joke, but every day the rent is due. Like I could feel the way that I feel right now on this podcast, but tomorrow do I still have the same attitude? Again, am I really doing my back end research to learn the industry? Something you mentioned on the first episode, like to learn exactly what you're doing and make sure clients is getting results too. Like, everybody's not going to be happy. It is what it is.
Right.
There has to be like just business. It's just the balance of the balancing things. But to your point, show me some client testimonies that you're actually out there helping people, because by default, you helping people going, okay.
Refer you?
Exactly. You're going to get referrals.
Mm-hmm.
Your team is going to grow. People are going to want to be led and mentored by you. I have a huge team. Shout out to every single one of them too. I love and respect every single one of y'all, by the way. They help me tremendously to where I'm at. And that's another thing, growing a business. That's why personal development is in play. Customer service is in play. You're going to deal with so many different personalities, so many different ethnicities, so many ways different people think, what to say, what not to say. And I look at mentorship like parenting.
Especially in this era, yeah.
I look at mentorship like parenting. You have to, if I'm mentoring somebody, I still want them to be themselves. I still want them to understand the lessons that I'm teaching them, but I want them to go out there and make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
So when you make a mistake, you're going to have that lesson that I taught you in the back end, like, damn, he did tell me not to do this, but I did it anyway. And I'm not going to bash them or condemn them. I'm going to give them a hug, like, look, but I told you, you want to do things better, because you have to know everybody's level of motivation.
Yeah.
And for lack of better term, right? Because my mentor, shout out to her too, she was extremely hard on me. And I like that, because I'm hard on myself.
Not a lot of people do, though.
I'm extremely hard on myself. Like, you have no idea. Like, I critique myself all the time, and I need somebody like that to push me. Like, I need you to tell me some real stuff that's not gonna, don't worry about my feelings. Don't worry about whatever. Don't worry about our relationship. Like, she told me the realest thing ever one day. She was like, Lynx, I want you to be successful so bad. I don't care about our friendship. I'd rather you not talk to me and take everything that I learned, my mentorship, and you go out there and make 6 figures, 7, 8 figures, and never talk to me again, and I'll be good with that, opposed to you just being friends and you make no money.
That's true. And like, I feel like that's the main reason why people say you can't go into business with friends. Not because of like that friendship aspect, but because of the actual money that's there. Like, if you're in business with a friend and they're holding you back, you're not upset because they're holding you back. You're upset because they're holding you back financially. You're not upset because they're, I don't know, making you feel like you guys are becoming less and less of friends or something like that. It's all derives from the money. Like, the profit that you're making. That's the whole reason why you both got into business together, right? So I see that.
Absolutely, bro. You got to have thick skin too.
Yeah.
And even in like whatever, because especially in the learning stages, I'll tell you a truthful moment right now. My first year in multi-level marketing, I didn't make $1.
Mm.
I'm dead serious. I was up there just trying to learn before I earn, get my insurance license, letting everybody handle everything. I'm just sitting back, taking notes. Like, when I post pictures and when I post quotes, those are actually things that I go through.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a learning method. Like, okay, I didn't mind sitting back and letting my mentor handle these couple of deals for me or whatever. I make a little bit of money, but the skill that she taught me over time that I could take now and cultivate and teach anyone, You know what I'm saying? So because I sat back and just, let me let her do her thing and just take notes, shadow somebody, actually shadow somebody. Like some people don't want to do that because they have an ego.
Yeah, ego's the biggest.
And that's something that definitely gonna fail you in network marketing. Or any business, I should say. Constructive criticism. I heard you guys talk about that on your first episode too. Man, oh my gosh.
I was gonna say even sports too.
Oh my gosh, bro. Constructive criticism. You ever watch them old martial arts movies and the master be so nice and he be like, I don't want to take on every student because I need somebody who's like, I understand now.
I don't know. I said every time I see them, they're always so like strict and mean.
I understand now because look.
Yeah, I understand it too.
I'm teaching you everything I learned compact. And I believe in you and I'm spending my time for you. I want you to be better than me, right? So obviously you want somebody to just put in the work and have the motivation and be open and listening and stuff like that. And take the constructive criticism because, there's a saying, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right?
Right.
I'm sure y'all all heard of that. But at the same time, I also believe it also controls your perception of how you see things, right? It could be beautiful, it could be ugly, right? Show it to me, at least. Right. Like if you tell me like, yo, Lynx, I like what you're doing, but here's some constructive criticism, I see how you could do that. I'm like, you know what? I never saw that like that. Let me jot that down. I take notes. Boom, boom, boom. All right, I'm going to work on it. You know what I mean? Because you telling me something, you ain't have to tell me that. But you telling me something maybe that could actually add value to me that I didn't see. But somebody, you'll see this a lot on social media because everybody, got Twitter fingers and stuff like that. But you post something and you could just feel the tonality in somebody's comment with the disrespect and or like, bro, like, I'm just telling you something to help you get
LOL. The ellipsis point right after. For those of you that don't know, ...
Listen, man, like, and I just be like, and some people don't ever think people not watching. For all the business owners out there too, because don't ever think people not watching. It's important how you treat people, whether you talking to, somebody who's doing podcasting or you talking to the janitor. People always watching how you talk to them and how you treat to them, even if you respond. Like you said, I don't have that Hollywood treatment. I don't care if I make $1 billion. I'm always gonna be the same in terms of how I engage with people. Like, oh, what's up? Like, I'm never gonna have somebody take over my social media and have them interact with my fans. I'm gonna do that manually. Doop, 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 doop. You know what I mean? It's just that's just me. Like, and that's okay if they do that too. Let me put that out there. I was just saying that's just me. I just like the engagement. I like the relation with people. Like,
There's still a lot of people do it. So, I mean, I understand why people do stuff like that, but still,
Definitely, man.
Yeah, because originally I was going to ask you, too, if you were, like, doing credit through a company or, like, through an MLM, or was it just something you were doing as a private practice? But you basically answered that.
Well, yeah, I was doing it through a company. They will remain nameless right now because whatever happened, but I'm actually working with a different company now who has better notoriety and credit with what they're doing and was more expansive, in terms of what they offer to their clients. I had a lot of people come to me for business loans, personal loans, things like that. And at the time, I couldn't service them. I only could help them with credit. But now, I'm always looking to expand. If you're not expanding, then you're, I don't want to use the word dying, but regressing, I should say. You know what I'm saying? Offering different...
Or just staying stagnant, really.
Yeah, that too. But, I like to pay attention to, analytics. What are my clients asking me for help with the most? Like, okay, when it was doing insurance, they was asking me about credit. When I was doing credit, they asked me about personal loans, business business funding. That's what I'm doing now. So I always just
that's the main
level up.
Yeah.
Exactly. Level up.
Yeah, that's good. So, yeah, in terms of credit, so let's just look at things just from a beginner standpoint, because I do want to hear a little bit of credit hacks for my personal use and also for the viewers at home, obviously. But I know there's probably some people watching out there that want to know, how do I even get started when it comes to credit? Or not even just that, but what do I need to get started for? What would you say to them?
Well, first and foremost, if you have no credit history right now, you're in a great place. Don't panic. Don't think, I don't have no credit. because you're in the best position to start building credit right now, right? You can go from having no score to a 750 score from 3 to 6 months if you do things the proper way, right? And that just begins by going down to your bank and getting an unsecured card, you know, putting that collateral, whatever, $200, $300. When I first got my credit card through Bank of America, they asked me for $300 collateral. That was my limit at the time, and I just kept building from that. Some quick credit hacks. Guys, I would recommend you use, so I have 4 different credit cards, right? And I label them for different reasons, right? One is for subscriptions, you know,
that's
Stars,
the easiest one right there.
Netflix, stuff like that I know is super easy. I could put on auto pay. I ain't got to worry about. You know what I mean?
Right.
Then I got one credit card just for travel, just in case, you know, I'm going on the road. We do tours. We go from tour to tour and teach individuals about credit. You know, we was just in New York with the Power Up tour. Shout out to the Power Up community. You know, that we going to Texas in August. You know, so I take a credit card with me just in case, like if I got to make a purchase, et cetera, and so forth. I mean, I carry my debit card too, but I like using credit because it's more trackable. If I ain't make a purchase, it could get offsetted. So, you know, it's more benefits using your credit card than your debit card. You know what I'm saying?
And you got the rewards too.
That too, exactly. Yeah. Then I have a credit card that I just pay my bills with. I mean, like, you know, just regular. A matter of fact, I go to the grocery store. I'm grocery shopping. I spend like $50. You know, build my credit up. I something I know I could pay back really, really quickly. I try not to make any big purchases because I feel like with big purchases,
I heard about that one before. You want to go into that?
Yes, I try not to make big purchases because big purchases are tied to feelings. I'm going to say that again. I try not to make big purchases because big purchases are tied to feelings. What do I mean by that? Like, you know what? I want to buy this big TV. Or I want to buy that car. Or I want to go on vacation. Or I want to buy these red bottom shoes, right? And you bought it because you want to feel good at the moment. But once that credit card bill come, you like, damn, I'm going to pay the minimum on this. You start getting offset. I'm going to pay the minimum on, you know what, my check ain't looking right. I thought I was going to pay this. This came up. I'm going to just pay. And you start like throwing yourself off track to where you already was at. I've been there and I've done it. This is why I'm telling you that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, I like to trial and error. Like, you know how some people like to give you advice? Most of my advice that I do is trial and error. And then I actually put it in theory and then I utilize it. Like I used to love science. Like, you know, like hypothesize, put in experimentation, and then know that's what I really do with all of my thoughts. Because, like, I like to talk from facts as well as opinion, but, you know, that's what I do. Another credit hack, making 2 to 3 payments. If you have a payment due on whatever date that is, I would break the payment up. So if I got a $100 bill due, I'm going to pay 33. You know, 9 days before.
I was just reading about that one too.
I'm going to pay 33 6 days before, and I'm going to pay another 33 couple days before. That's going to trick the system like, yo, this guy made payments on time. You know? Definitely works. Let's see here. Off the top of my head, if you're looking for some credit cards to get some good rewards, I would say Sable right now. Sable's pretty good. Self-Lender is another one. Self-Lender is another one I use. Where you're actually able to borrow money from yourself. They put it in an FDIC account. You know, it builds up for whatever term you choose. You get your money back plus the interest accrued from it, as well as them sending you out a credit card and getting a loan builder on your account. Like Self-Lender is a great way to start. Now, if you're somebody whose credit history is bad, messed up, you got derogatory amounts with derogatory accounts on it, whatever, right? Again, don't panic, right? Just look at your timeline. What are you trying to do in a 1 to 2, 1 to 3? I want people to start looking at their goals like a bid.
Like a what?
Like a bid. Like, you know how people are like, all right, I'm about to do this 1 to 5. I'm mentally prepared.
Bid.
Like, they got to start looking at their financial goals like a bid, because that's exactly what it is. Like, all right, you know, I'm not planning for next year. I'm planning for the next 5 years. Like, everything that I'm doing right now, boom, 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 whatever, right? But start planning, like, your game plan for, like, 1 to 2 years, 5, whatever it is that it is, and just focus on day by day, week by week, month by month. You know what I mean? I think too many people either lost in the past was worried about the future to the next day, but they forget about the power of now. Right? Shout out to that book to anybody who ever read that. That's a powerful book. It helps
Which
me
one?
always stay focused. The Power of Now.
Power now. Okay.
Another thing too, if you're an entrepreneur, you're in multi-level
You gotta
marketing,
read a lot of
you
books.
gotta be reading books, bro. Listen,
Rich Dad Poor Dad is not good. Cut it. I'm sorry. I don't mean to throw shade at a lot of people, but they throw that book around like that's all you need. No, it's more
definitely
than
not all you need, even though it's a good book. Just some start-off books I would recommend. Outwitting the Devil, definitely top notch. Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah,
How to Win
I read
Friends
that
and Influence People. The Greatest Salesman Ever. The Richest Man on Babylon. Crucial Conversations. That book right there. Woo!
Who's that one by?
I forgot the author. I can't come to my head right now, but Crucial Conversations is a red cover book. What I mean to tell you, that book will teach you how to have a conversation with anybody about anything.
So for all the fellas out there having problems with the ladies, might want to check this book out.
And put some
it'll work with
context in there. I
anything.
want to preface my comments, not just for the fellas, it's for the ladies too. Like for anything, if you have somebody in a work area who has bad hygiene, how to address it. If you have somebody you're mentoring and not performing well, how do you address it without making them feel some type of way? If you have, you want to talk to your relationship spouse partner about something that's personal, it's everything that's in that book. Like I've taken so many things from that book, helps you, your communication skills, especially if you're in business and you're talking to people all the time.
Yeah, a book I've been recommending a lot this summer is Atomic Habits. I don't know if you read that one, but that one's
I've
definitely.
heard about that one.
Yeah, and it's funny because like we read about it just from a trading perspective. Like we didn't read it for like, the title itself, Atomic Habits. Like we're reading it because like a couple of friends of mine introduced it to me and my other friends, and we're all in the same like network. Like we have a whole like trading group and all that, Discord and everything. And they brought it to our attention and saying, this book really motivated us, changed like how we think, and helped us, make better habits to become more profitable. And it's like reading the book. I was like this whole time thinking, I was just like, what is it like? What does this book have to do with trading? And not like literally like what does it have to do with trading, but how could this help impact my trading? And it's like as I'm getting through the book, it's like I'm learning new and new ways to better my performance as well as other people as well in terms of like helping them become better. And even those people like in my network, my other friends, reading the book and they're all starting to see, different results just from performing better habits. Yeah.
And to your point too, I remember when I first read The Alchemist, that book made me feel like that. I was like, this book has nothing to do with insurance, retirement, 401k planning, none of that stuff. And I'm like, yo, why am I reading this book? That book was all about a journey of self-discovery. And I'm like, at the end, it hit me. I'm like, oh, okay. At the end, it hit me. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, this book really, because, when you, on anything that you do, it's always going to feel like you on some type of roller coaster ride, right? You don't know what you're going. You take 5 leaps forward and then you take 10 steps back and you're like, but reading story books, like, helped me realize like this. Everybody goes through this. Everybody has a story, I think I saw something on Facebook the other day, like, guys that reached their billionaire mark. LeBron James just did it this year. Rihanna, just 36 years old. Mark Cuban, almost 40. Like, whatever. Everybody's story is just different. And what I get from those autobiographies or documentaries of people is understanding, like, what's my story going to look like? To mention Mark Cuban, I follow him. I followed him all the way back until I first knew about him when he purchased the Dallas Mavericks. That's when I started really following. But I didn't know before that he started, all this really started with him. Like this whole podcast, it's the form of it, but he did a streaming site in Texas because he loves sports.
I was just reading about that.
And then, boom, the internet age happened. And that's another thing too. Like, if you're somebody to be looking to become successful, you have to understand the age that you're in. Like, you could be talented in a business, but if your time has come and gone, you have to look in other ways. Like, you know what I'm saying? For example,
I mean, the what's it called? The Breakfast Club is officially over, supposedly.
It's not over. I mean, Angelique's doing her own thing. Shout out to her. I actually met Angelique
But I actually
too.
thought that's what you were like trying to get out. Actually, low key.
I will in a minute.
I
But
thought that's what you trying to say.
quick story about her. I actually met her when I was doing security and I was on my music journey and I was asking her how to get on the show. And she was like telling me getting my notoriety up, my followers, produce some music and stuff like that. So we need to have a reason to have you on the show. That was one of my goals, to get on the Breakfast Club, to have that conversation where like, hey, you remember me?
That's a low key even with this podcast too.
What did you say?
I said even with this podcast too, it's the same thing. Like I have a lot of people that, you know, have been reaching out and things like that. And I mean, right now, like obviously we're like overbooked. Like I have so many episodes just in the stash that I haven't even put out yet. And it's just like being that I'm so like packed up, it's like, wow, like I know I might not have like a blue check mark on Instagram and all that, but it's amazing to see how much, like, you know, I think it's only been a month, to be honest, since I started, but you know, the past month, how great things have went, and also just how great it is to be noticed. Because even the other day, I went to a barbecue and somebody like pointed me out. He was like, you're that Brees guy. You got a podcast. So I was like, yeah. And you know, we had a little conversation about it. I told him I was actually I like his stuff. He's a good friend of Mike, my co-host, and he was telling me like, you know, we got to work. He was telling me this other guy he wants to work with, like together, like they want to come in together, and I said, yeah, I'm totally with it. But the thing is, I somewhat know about his brand, like I know about him, so it's like at least I respect that. Like there's a lot of people, like you said, like, you know, you gotta get your notoriety up. There's people coming out of nowhere, you know, like on the download my mixtape type of days, where they're just like, you know, DMing me or filling out the online form.
I was one of those guys. I ain't gonna hold you. Yo, download my mixtape was fire too. By the way, you know, that's another topic. But I was definitely one of those dudes because I felt like I know what they felt like. You know,
yeah,
bro. If you just take the chance to listen to my mixtape, you're gonna be like, yo, low key, this dude is fire. And I was one of those dudes. And on the flip side, like, yo, don't tell me to listen to your mixtape or tag me in it and it's whack. Oh, I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, cause I mean, with music though, it's all about talent. I'm just talking about just like from a business in general. It's just like, cause I'm somebody who's fair to everybody. I give everybody open chance. But it's like, but that's the thing. That's me as an outsider saying that. Now it's like actually having a platform, everything. Now it's like, damn, I actually got to look at everything differently. Like even with my guests, I have to really assign, like, I guess like work on a schedule differently in terms of giving certain people priority because they might have X amount of numbers in their following or they're very successful at what they do, as opposed to just somebody random who like just got into what they're doing and they just want a quick exposure to kind of jumpstart them. And it's like, you know, not to be hard on myself, but it's like, I'm not even the guy that you want to jumpstart with, right? Obviously, you want to be with somebody that has like, you know, 1 million followers or something like that. But you
to
know,
your point, I actually like jumpstarting with the people who just jumpstarted. I'm gonna tell you why, because we got to start everywhere. I remember this dude. He's gonna remain nameless, but I used to go to his studio and record all the time. I brought him mad clientele, and then once I started my financial consulting journey, he was looking at me like, bro, you ain't got $1 million. Like, why should I listen to you? And I'm like, I mean, we got to start somewhere, right? I could have went to Quad Studio. I could have went to so many different studios, but I went to yours. You know what I'm saying? So you ain't nobody at the time. Like, so I'm just like, you know, people are ignorant like that.
Yeah.
And to your point about building notoriety, you know what I had to do in my life to like, bro, I started off as an entrepreneur since I was like 19, selling baby clothes. Then it went to music. Then it went to filming. And then it went to like insurance, credit. Now all this business credit, all this stuff now. And back to my point that I was going to get to earlier, like you have to go through so many different periods in life where I went through those things where it allowed me to learn, which puts me in a better place now, right? Like my experience from, like I'm not new to being on a podcast, but if I never had the experience,
I didn't know.
You know what I'm saying? I've been on a couple podcasts before, but like when I was, you know, booking myself for shows and stuff like that and, you know, branding myself, but not for nothing, but it comes with that, like, you know, putting yourself out there, being this or this, or like, you know, letting people see your name, like, oh, who is this person? Or even if you don't have the blue check, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Right? And now, funny you mentioned that, you know, I'm the talent scout for Florex Films now, so people be like, yo, I want to be in that movie. I just put out the trailer today.
Yeah.
For Life of a Zoe.
Yeah.
You know, put me in a movie. Like, It don't work that way, bro.
It don't.
Like, you
And
know.
that's what I'm saying too. Like I feel like, it's one thing if it's like you're really hungry, you're passionate, you want to really jumpstart with somebody. Because that's the thing, you're gonna motivate each other too. Especially too if one person's outdoing the other. It's gonna motivate you to want to catch up, and they're gonna probably tell you, hey, catch up with me, right, and vice versa. Yeah, but the thing is, I just feel like a lot of people. I mean, not in my not like from what I'm seeing, like from me, but I just feel like in general, a lot of people, are kind of in that. I'm just gonna start this, and everybody has to just follow behind me without actually putting in work and getting their notoriety up, or not even their notoriety, but just their reputation of having a hardworking reputation to that point to where people could actually back what they're doing, actually support them. And I feel like with this podcast, I feel like I'm gonna see it soon. It's something I anticipated as well. It's just like, how do I deal with people like that? And it's funny because now I want to read that book. How to deal with people like that, because I know for sure. Like when I was playing this podcast, I was like, I know for sure people could tell me, they deserve an interview to promote their music because they're, my best friend, my man's, whatever. And then, same with like, anybody's business, they could say, oh God, I gotta wear their clothes on set because, we've been down since like first grade or something like that. Or, maybe an ex-girlfriend, she got like, I don't know, like her own fashion line or something, like, some business that she feels like, since we had something in the past, like everybody could think I owe them some type of.
Be like that. So you gotta have guidelines. Gotta have guidelines.
It's just like, even with friends, it's like, I'll support you if you're actually working hard. If you're actually doing your thing. Like, I don't care even if you just started. If I actually see you grinding, hell yeah, I'm gonna support you. But it's like the whole notion of just, we were neighbors, so you kind of gotta give me this favor. Doesn't work over here like that.
And the same thing apply. Like I said, guidelines. That's gonna be a key term I'm gonna start using, because people be like, hey, I want to be in a movie. I look good, or I dress well, or my clothing XYZ, or I can rap, or whatever the case may be. Bro, you gotta go through the proper guidelines. Send your resume, headshot. Apply for this. I had to apply for a role. And the director's like my best friend, him and his wife. So what makes you think, you get what I'm saying?
Right.
I went through the proper guidelines and channel. Everybody got to go through the same thing. Even with, running a business, everybody just wants you to.
What about with credit?
Listen, with credit, book your Candidly appointment with me. That's what I'm going to say. And then we do consultation. People be like, why you be like, inbox me? Why can't you just put the information out on Facebook? First of all, it's a public forum. And I'm not gonna. What type of business owner would individually talk to his clients on a public forum? Like, if you go to the doctor, he's gonna tell your condition to everybody, so everybody can see. No, that's the reason for the inbox, so I can consult with you. It's called consulting. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, just set they appointment with Calendly, or reach out to me, inbox, whatever social media site that I'm on. I'm very available, as you see. I'm not Hollywood. Yeah, man.
I could vouch for that.
I hate that, bro. You don't understand, because we all people at the end of the day. And truth be told, anybody who's ever made it in the world, it's because the people put them there.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
Networking goes a long way. Everybody knows that for sure.
Beyonce is not where she's at if she don't have all of her Beehive followers. Jay-Z is not where he at if he don't have all those people throwing up the diamond. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
So that's why I don't be on a Hollywood tip at all.
Yeah. So not to go. Yeah. So I kind of want to sway away from going onto a deeper tangent. Kind of come back to credit. So I'm sure there's probably a lot of people out there who you just gave them the info to contact you, but in terms of just like, how do you work on a business scale in terms of how do you do everything basically, like your functions on a day-to-day, I guess you could say, or just client by client?
Oh man, first of all, develop a system. If you guys don't have a system in place, system stands for save yourself time, energy, and money, right? I'm so grateful for the Power Up community. We have a beautiful system in place where, I typically, I predominantly use social media. We're in an age of technology where you guys don't have to do what other people did back in the day in industry, making phone calls all day, trying to get to people. No, it's right there because people need help with credit. I predominantly use Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, as far as marketing, but I also do a lot of prospecting, going out in the street, talking to people. I also do the legwork too, you know, putting up what's it called? Bandit signs with my information on there, stuff like that. The legwork, putting up signs in the mall, places I know a lot of people will go and see, or when I do my marketing based on how people know me, because you know my audience is based on so many different elements of where people know me from. So you know, people know me from music. You knew me from being on skits with Haitian Joe. You know, some people know me from school. Some people know me from work. Some people know me from the film industry. Some people know me from life insurance. Some people know me from credit. Some people, like, you know, so whatever it is you know me from, I take that and then I leverage to what I'm doing right now. So I'm like, oh, okay. Damn, I didn't know you doing business credit now. Yo, he rap too. Right. You know what I'm saying? So many people
They
know.
could mix them too. Like,
yeah, you know, and I started also
credit freestyles. Like
I started doing that. You know,
for
I
real?
think,
Nice.
bro, if you go on my Instagram, hashtag Lynx the Specialist, that's my stage name, Lynx the Specialist. Reason why I'm called a specialist, because it's really not nothing I can't do. Like literally, like seriously, I'm not even kidding. But yeah, I used to do that all the time, bro.
So we might need a freestyle from you at the end of the show. Somebody did it already, so.
Yeah. Oh my God, man. Okay, I'll give you something right now since you asked.
I mean, it was up to you. I was just joking, but
it's been a while. Okay, man. Listen, It's
not
been a minute,
everyone
bro.
could come up here.
It's been a minute, my guy. It's been a minute, my guy. I was about to give you 50 bars, but something just came to me. It's a lot of thoughts, man.
Oh man, that was actually amazing. But yeah, so no, but that's the thing. You say like you actually do like credit music, like.
Yeah, it's funny you mention that, because I was literally talking about this today with my business partner. At some point, I'm gonna put out a musical album. I'm not gonna say when, but it's gonna be centered around financial literacy. I'm gonna just leave it at that.
Right,
you know,
because it kind of reminds me of I think his name is Lecrae. Like I know he was like a rapper, and now he's like a Christian rapper, where he's doing like just mostly Christian music. And like I feel like with you too, like, and that's the thing. It kind of got him into like a bigger space, because now he has, well, one, he has a bigger audience, but two, he's doing something that, as cliche as it sounds, he's looking at what everyone else is doing. He's doing something else, right? And I feel like with you could definitely do the same thing too, where it's like nobody's really seeing anybody doing music on credit.
Definitely been in the mix, bro. I just I was happy to be fortunate to understand what the music industry is about. So like I took everything that I've learned and I thought, like, how can I add more value to people in terms of just letting people know I'm lyrically nice, or I could flow to a beat, or I could give you punchlines and concepts. No, you know, and I feel like God put me on this path where I'm at right now to, hey, put out a financial literacy album. Ain't nobody do that yet. Ain't nobody could do it the way that I'ma do it.
Yeah, because I see Money Man, he tries to do it, like, but it's like he doesn't really like do it. Like, it's like he'll name a song crypto and it's like only 2 bars about like Bitcoin, and that's it.
I know what you mean.
Same with like Man Kevo. Like I know he's into credit, and it's like I don't see much. I just see him flexing, like, for the most part.
I'm already used to it. Like I said, if you go through my hashtag on Instagram, Lynx the Specialist, you'll see I started doing rap verses about insurance, investing, like way long ago. So it's like nothing for me to just get in the studio, lock myself in for like a month and put out a project. You know, it's not even about the music anymore. It's just more so about the time, the consumption, and the money. I'm at that point. You know what I'm saying? Like going to the studio, like I'm grateful for the partners that I've been around in the music industry, because they taught me like advanced rap. You know, shout out to everybody that ever been around me, but they taught me advanced rap. Like, what do I mean by that? Like going to the studio, not wasting time, getting like 4 to 5 songs done in an hour, and coming back the next week, knocking those songs back out, going on to something else. Like, yo, we used to be wilding. Like, like I've seen people go to the studio 8 hours. That's like what, $300. They book a session to do like one song. They drunk and high the entire time. But us, we book an 8-hour session. We did a whole mixtape.
Yeah, I'd be confused. I'm like, these artists do like 10-hour sessions. I'm like, what? And I'm thinking 10 hours. In my head, I'm thinking if it's just 10 hours of me recording, sure, I'm going to have like 200 songs by the time the night's over. But I realized like there's a lot that goes into that, and like you said, there's some people that just waste the time for one song. Like,
Right. And I used to have a game plan. So if any of you guys that do music that's listening, we used to listen to our tracks on the way to the studio, start preparing our verse on the way to the studio. By the time we get in the booth, we already know what we want to do. It's just more so about finding the comfortability, getting the verse done, and then we out. And then we eat pizza and enjoy the festivities, whatever, take it home, start working on it right then and there. By the time I get to the studio, I'm even better than I was the last time.
mm,
You know, like when I did my album, it only took me like 2 months to do it.
mm,
My first project, like I was just like, I thought it was gonna take me like 6 months, but
mhm.
from the experience of knowing what to do and mixing and mastering, being around engineers, knowing how the ear for things like that, so
Mm.
definitely like sped up the process.
Yeah. So my final question to you is a 2-part question. So first part, so we already spoke about for the new people, like new beginners, anybody who doesn't have credit, and you also spoke on credit hacks. But what would you say to anybody that's just currently struggling with their credit, as well as advice to credit specialists like yourself out there that probably looking for that boost?
Okay, for people who are still struggling with their credit, I would focus on taking a look at your credit report to understand, learn how to read it. Reading is fundamental. And if you're somebody who's so concerned with your credit, focus on why your credit is what it is. Like, do you have a high debt to income ratio? Because usually you want to tackle down your debt. Your debt ain't gonna go nowhere. Like, that's what's keeping us where we at right now is debt and taxes at the end of the day. And then your credit to take care of itself for the end of the day. But for the people who are in the business, I would say results. Go out there and actually help people first. Stop like well, my man Simeon Brown would say, watch out for those people with the commission breath. You could just smell it on them. They just trying to sell you all the time.
I actually like that commission.
It's funny.
I'm gonna start using that.
It's funny. Like they just trying to sell people, not really helping them with their credit, et
Lambo
cetera, and so
McLaren.
forth. And it's a difference when you trying to, you also want people to, be rescue them own selves too, like because it's a difference between helping somebody and you've done all you can to help them and they just not taking the necessary steps on their end, right? Sometimes they be like, because I've been situations be like clients, they be like, oh, I didn't. My credit is not where it's at, yada yada yada. But well, I did everything on my end. Did you do everything on your end? Did you do this? Did you do that? Did you, blah blah blah. Like so, they don't really understand. They just also think like it's just solely on you. Now, if you're paying for a service for somebody to do it for you, it's a different thing, opposed to someone giving you the tools and you want to do it yourself. So you got to differentiate, does somebody want the do it yourself kit or they want it to be done for you? And just marketing too. Like if you somebody with credit, I would say, listen, all of our credit is not always going to be A1. It goes up and down. It's something that's very, like the stock market. But I would say credit is like your word. There is some type of responsibility, some type of accountability to it because it does say something about you. And you definitely want to have good credit if you're trying to lead someone to having good credit too. I didn't always have good credit. I started off with great credit. Like in the early stages, I had about 755 credit. And honestly, I wasn't taking advantage of it. I was like, whatever. And then it became an underlying issue. And I missed out on an apartment and all this and that, walking off the lot with a car and then da-da-da-da. And another thing, again, understanding the debt that you have on your credit report. If it's a student loan debt, is in good standing. That could be good debt, because I know somebody that walked off the lot with a student loan debt, no money down, right? Or, it depends. Understanding like where you at in the financial game, because monkey see, monkey do. And you want to make sure that you educating people on the right things, putting a budget together, a will and a trust too. That's very important. Prince, his case just got settled recently about his will and a trust, splitting money between, his family members. If you have one in place, you wouldn't have to go through all that probate in court and all of that stuff. You know what I mean? But that's a highly underestimated financial product. Is a will and a trust, bro. Everybody that, if you got terms of becoming wealthy and you think you never gonna graduate to meet God, well, guess again, because Uncle Sam, we all got the same. Now I said this joke on Facebook. We all got the same uncle, Uncle Sam.
Yeah,
right?
I seen that.
And if you somebody with debt, who do you think it rolls up to? Your family member. You know, so that's again getting out of debt, bro. That's like, to me personally, that's the number one thing that's holding people back from breaking that generational curse. Besides ignorance and learning about the money, it's just that debt that keeping us in debt. Bro, I think it's literally probably over $7 trillion in debt right now. I see the numbers because I'm in finance. It's something I take very seriously.
Yeah. So like Lynx said, for all the people that's out there just copying and pasting off people's TikToks of credit hacks and things you're learning, actually take seriousness to your business, actually be more professional, actually put more passion into your work, and you could definitely be as successful as this guy right here. So,
Listen. First and foremost, I'm in a good place. I would say I'm successful in what I'm doing, but I'm not successful ultimately where I want to be. Because that might be attributed to me just being unsatisfied with everything I do. But my ultimate goal really is hopefully one day to become a billionaire. And I want to, and people think I'm crazy, but I want to give that half of my money up to charity for a cause to help people. Like when people be like, oh, when they get money, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. Y'all going to see what I'm going to do. I'm not going to just be somebody that's going to be talking about it and, oh, he got the bread now. Y'all going to see. I'm just going to leave it at that. But, yeah, man.
No, you're getting there for sure.
Definitely, bro. Definitely on the right path. It's just positivity, being around people like you, good vibes, good energy, marketing, putting yourself out there, personal development, staying away from bloodsuckers, staying away from whether men or females trying to take your pockets. Like, I want to touch on this too. I know we ain't got a lot of time, but you got to watch for the people that are trying to get you to spend money. And you know why I say that? Because people are like, yo, you always on Facebook talking about finance all day.
You must have
all day. Guess what? I'm the only person on your Facebook that's trying to get you to save money rather than spend money. So how much value am I adding to you opposed to the people that you being around, right?
Yeah.
They taking money from you all the time.
Yeah, that's a quick gem right there. Yeah, so it's definitely a pleasure, Lynx.
It's a pleasure for being here. I've been definitely wanting to be here for a minute since the first episode, bro.
Yeah, so first panel down in the book. Definitely could be a lot more to go in different industries. And make sure you go follow Lynx on all his platforms. Make sure you get in contact with him if you're really serious about, getting your credit score better. And also make sure, if you haven't, subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Instagram, what'scooking_NYC. And do you want to shout your personal?
Absolutely. But it's my Instagram again. It's Lynx. That's LYNX_Eustache EUSTACHE. Facebook name Lynx Eustache. Everything is just pretty much my name. You can email me as well for inquiries. Either my first name, last name at Gmail, or my business email, which is EustacheSolutionsLLC@gmail.com. One more gem too before we go. I think this is real powerful because somebody asked me to say this on here, but they was asking me at what point should they switch from an LLC to a corporation. And for my people who are wondering, I should say anytime you make over $50,000 and above, because what that's going to do is anything under, you're paying yourself as an individual contractor or whatever. You're paying yourself,
exactly,
and then you're paying taxes based on whatever you made, right? But if you make more, and if you don't switch it to a LLC, guess what? You're paying taxes based on what you make. Now, if you switch it to a corporation, you could take out basically a salary for yourself, right, and then it's gonna save you money come tax time. So that's the best time to switch over. Whatever business you're in, you'll probably know when it's time to start hiring some people. The work is getting too much overload for you. You'll know when it's time to switch over.
Yeah, I definitely heard that one before, so it's good to hear it again. It's refreshing.
Definitely, most definitely saving people money on taxes.
Yeah, so you guys definitely seen what's cooking with Lynx. I'm Fabrice, and see you next time.
Peace.